Hey Axis and Allies players, the good captain here. Welcome to a recap of round 14 and Austria-Hungary's, or at least part of Austria-Hungary's round 15. Let's do a quick review. We left off here with the French turn, and they purchase an artillery and 9 infantry. I think this fellow should be I think you should be purchasing all infantry at this point. You have enough artillery, and I don't see a ton of attack opportunity. You don't have air superiority, so I don't get that, but to each their own. Okay, so combat move. He sends a blocker clearance team from Burgundy to Switzerland. A blocker clearance team from Burgundy to Piedmont. And down here in Mediterranean, watch this. He takes these 3 transports in the East Med, moves them south of Italy, loads 3 artillery, not 4, 3 artillery from Tuscany into those transports and deposits them in Marseille. So, I don't know, maybe he thinks he's gearing up for some kind of an attack? I don't know. Doesn't really matter, honestly. Yes, moves his assets forward. Okay, then the battle in Piedmont goes his way. He clears it without loss. The battle in Switzerland goes his way, but he takes a loss, so no surprises there. Drops in his reinforcements. I don't know. I guess we'll see. British. So the French collect 31. So they're still above 30. Despite me being as far in as Lorraine. So now the British, they buy more stuff. Combat move. This is a long, weird combat move that basically ends with him moving up in the Middle East and not attacking again in Constantinople. And then he moves 25 infantry against Belgium with offshore support. Of course, my artillery would be able to shoot one of his infantry, but since there's only one, I'm going to assume it's a miss. Let's go ahead and take a look at the odds here. What are 25 infantry in a battleship versus 13 infantry in an artillery? Run it out 20,000 times. Okay. Actually, if you do the math, it's 54 divided by 6. That's 9 hits is the most average and 7 hits for me, so it should be plus 6, which it is. Okay. So again, I'm just adding up my units, cutting in half, because they all roll at 3. That's 7. His dice count goes up to 54. So yeah. 9 hits for him, and 7 hits for me. So this looks like a bad move. I mean, you're going to gain 2 pieces worth of infantry, and you put your British army into a terrible position. Anyway, let's see how it goes, because it is quite shocking. Quite shocking indeed. Battleship hits, and then these guys roll like tanks. They roll 12 out of 25. He ends up rolling 13 instead of 9, so he rolled plus 4. The Germans roll back minus 2. So instead of him having a 2-piece lead, he actually has a 8-piece lead. And to add salt to the wound, he actually clipped my artillery because I only had 1 piece left. I mean, I guess I should feel fortunate to have even 1 left at this point. So he has to edit that artillery out. So what another disaster on the West Front. I don't know what he was thinking. I mean, it's a disaster for him too. I mean, he's lucky. It's good for him that he pulled that much IPC off the board, because it's basically a 100% chance that this German army can crush all 20 of these pieces. And I'm trying to find out, I'm finding it hard to find a reason not to do that. Um, I don't really, I don't know. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. Let's continue and finish the turn. He places another 4 infantry up in the UK, which I'm happy about. Um, and then the rest go into India. So all of these IPCs going to France and Africa, the US and Italy and the Middle East has made Britain pretty weak. They should be up in the 50s, but they can barely make 40. And with him splitting his income, I don't expect Constantinople will fall. I hesitate to say in this game. I'm close to expecting a concession, perhaps after this turn, but I don't expect it to fall anytime soon. Okay, so the Ottomans go, they purchase 3 infantry, and we place, and nothing happens. Big whoop. The Italians, pretty much the same thing. They just reinforce Tuscany from Rome and drop in 3 more infantry. The Americans, uh, Tuscany's looking a little bare, so after a bunch of shucks that just look weird and sloppy, well, they may not be sloppy, but they look like hell when I play through it, so I'm not going to show them to you. But his purchase was 7 infantry and 1 artillery. So finally, after 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 transports, he's going to focus on just ground units, it looks like. Okay, so what happens? He reinforces Tuscany with 8 pieces. 23, 8, 1, so no change in Smyrna. So basically he pushes his fresh reinforcements go to Tuscany as opposed to Smyrna. So Smyrna is the American Anzio, the largest prison camp. That's not a prison camp, self-sustaining prison camp. I don't know what they're doing here. I don't know how they can help. I think even the French move made no sense. I think he should have, well, not sorry, I shouldn't say no sense. Like, to me, it's just not any moves I would make. So, who am I? Who am I to criticize it? But it is just, I don't know. I don't know if he knows how. I feel like my opponent isn't aware how badly the situation, how much the situation is deteriorating. And now that I've said that, I'm sure I've jinxed it. But let's move on, because we are gonna purchase all infantry as the Austro-Hungarians, and we are gonna start driving in the nails. We are gonna smash Tuscany. We are gonna reinforce Venice with the supply train. Switzerland is an issue. I'm gonna put 3 pieces in Tyrolia. I don't want that to be an issue. I'm gonna put the rest in. Sorry, not the rest in Trieste. We'll pay the piper. Actually, I'm gonna thin it. I'm gonna put 2 in Galicia, and then 10 in Trieste. And then the Galician army moves to Romania. I've decided to put 1, 2, 3 infantry in Romania plus 1 artillery from Serbia as next turn reinforcements, and then we push the infantry in Bulgaria into Constantinople. And this is something I call the snake. When you can snake your infantry like this, you can essentially connect your production center with the endpoint. And if you can, in this case, it works really well. All along the way, they can divert from that snake and push into other areas where they might be needed. So Romania can help dead zone Sevastopol on the way to Bulgaria, which helps protect against any incursion by Allied transports, which then can go to Constantinople and help defend that capital. Even in Galicia, they can access Ukraine. So a lot of good uses for that. Okay, it's a tactic I've discovered in Anniversary and have used to good effect in many other games, versions of Axis and Allies. Okay, so let's, we need to remove our assets in Albania. Hopefully we don't forget to put them back. Let's just cycle through. Yeah, 4 fighters. He's got 3 fighters. Yeah, so Serbian Air Force dead zoning Sevastopol. There's plenty of assets to keep the British Army from coming up in here, so I've shut that down. This remains, I think, -5 pieces on his next turn for him, even after accounting for the armor. So he's in a tough spot around Constantinople for sure. And we're about to see how tough of a spot he's going to be around Tuscany, because when we pull up the battle calculator, okay, we've got it all dialed in here, letting it finish out. This is a number I can't ignore. Like 10 pieces in my favor. That's 30 IPCs in my favor. Taking 30 IPCs of ground units off the map, I cannot ignore that. The reason I'm even mentioning this is because what he's done in Burgundy, he has made it so that he could consolidate an army in Switzerland. And if that's the case, yes, I would have to pull out of Tuscany and head into Venice and just run a hypothetical. Assuming average losses in Tuscany, he's looking at -6 pieces. So of all the pieces I could consolidate in Venice on the following turn, and then yeah, he could move to Tyrolia, but then he's running into my supply train. So I'm comfortable. I'm very comfortable with this situation. And by the way, if he did even move to Switzerland, he's abandoning his capital, and he can't afford to lose Paris. You could afford, in a weird way, to lose Rome, but the game is over if you lose Paris, and I guess he could maintain contested status, but I'd say the jig is pretty much up by then, so I don't expect him to move. So this is going to be the end of part 1. We're going to roll, and I already did the calculation. We're expecting 34 or 35 hits when in this attack on Tuscany. 34 or 35 hits. Okay. I'm hesitant to roll. I've got butterflies, like it scares the hell out of me. Because this is why you play Axis and Allies, though. I mean, it's a huge ass roll, and if someone gets diced, it could... Here we go. Oh, we did it. We rolled up 2. We rolled +2. So I'll have to pause the video here because I know what I would choose as casualties for the defender, but I don't know how everybody else feels, but I don't want to choose for him because he might make a bad choice. Napoleon's adage, never interrupt your enemy when he's making a mistake. Okay, I've submitted it to my opponent, so we'll just leave this right here. But part 2 to be released as soon as the guy responds, and I already pretty much know what I'm going to do with Germany, but I will wait until then. And unless his roll is super hot, I think I expect a concession in the next 2 turns. I think this is a CP win, but I may be jinxing it. So, thanks for watching this. All the best from the good captain, and bye-bye.